Hello YouTube, how are you? I just always appear here in front of the camera, just looking like this with my shirt on, so I thought I'd spice things up with my headphones. You can't say I don't accessorise with my fashion. So, what's happening today, or what's happened today? As this day draws, well, not quite to the close, we've got a few more hours, as you can see, it's still bright outside. It's keeping early. It's keeping early a bit longer, I was going to say. No, it's keeping bright a bit longer. I don't think we've managed to change the fabric of time, but it is keeping bright a little bit longer now, so a sign of the slightly lighter evenings are on their way, which is good. And it gets earlier, it gets lighter earlier in the morning, so which is also very nice. That was good for today actually, because I had an early starter shift. I was up sort of about 3:30, so much earlier than I normally would, and it was already not as dark as it would have been a few weeks ago, so that's good, that's good. Yeah, I kicked off the day with a little bit of breakfast. I've been finding that cereal isn't just filling enough really, so I had a couple of poached eggs, my new favourite egg at the moment. I've always liked them, but I really love them at the moment. A couple of poached eggs and some peppered beef. I'm going on about peppered beef on my blog actually, if you're interested. If you go to www.stuffhere.net/projects, I thought I'd share my first recipe, apart from I kind of did the pancake one, but first main one. Just in case you wanted to know how I make peppered beef, because this isn't no definitive way to make it, it's just so far one way I found that I like it. But you should adapt it to your own taste, because you've got to get like the peppery ratio to as you like and that kind of thing. But the thing is, I just think it's something nice to have for breakfast. I've been having like chicken and poached eggs, and then when that ran out, when it ran out, no, that does make sense, when it ran out. So it does make sense, but I was picturing the meat actually just running out of the door, like when I said that. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know. Ran out, yeah, so when that ran out, the chicken, don't know what's happening today. When that chicken ran out, I went to peppered beef. That was what I was going on about. You can buy it in the supermarket, yeah, or when I then you can buy it in the supermarket. I went into a falsetto for that last couple of words, but no, you can buy it in the supermarket. Peppered beef, you can. It's true. I'm not lying, but I think it's something that if you can do it homemade, it's nice, because you can make it as spicy or as unspicy as you like, whereas in the supermarket it might not be to your liking, but it's up to you. But if you are interested more on peppered beef, my new favourite thing, just go to the mentioned blog website thing, stuffhere.net/projects. Now, I'm sorry if I've been making you hungry, but I do like to talk about food. Right, what else happened then? Kitty cat's doing well, as pictured here. Good little kitty cat. I've been doing some reading. I've got a few books at the library. I'm sorry if I keep going dark and light, sort of just spinning around in my swivel chair. The bulb in my spotlight has gone. It was a really, really good spotlight that was providing really, really good light, but I've had trouble sourcing the particular type of bulb, because you know that the government made it so supermarkets and all shops can only sell these new types of bulbs, the energy efficient ones. Well, they might be better for the energy, but they're not so bright, and some of them actually can cause quite a lot of problems. I've heard this quite often, too often, about them exploding and that. But yeah, I'm sure government knows better. That's fine, But yeah, so I've got a little bug to bear about that. So I have been reading a DC comic series called Starman. Don't know if you're familiar with it. This is a collected graphic novel that I am renting from the library. It's called Starry Night. Night spelt with a K. It seems really good, and I say seems because I've only just started, not enough to sort of get a gist of everything that's going on about it, but it certainly seems good. I've heard it's critically acclaimed actually, so I was very interested to pick it up to see what all the hype was about, but apparently it's very, very good. It's certainly already got some interesting characters, and it doesn't seem like the typical sort of superhero genre edition. It doesn't seem too typical in that way. I also like the fact that it's called Starman, because that instantly reminds me of David Bowie. Maybe, possibly, that is a reference they were going for. I don't know, but it is set in space. The character does go into space into it, where I've got up to so far. But yeah, seems very good. So I don't know. Let me know if you're a fan of that and what I can expect from it. Because as I say, I've only just started it, but I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next. It's funny because I was thinking about all these series, all these comic book series that could become quite easily become really good movies or maybe really good shows on, say, Netflix. You know, it's great we've had good versions of X-Men, Spider-Man, and then on the small screen we've had Daredevil. You know, Gotham obviously relates to Batman, but there's so many of the, say, less mainstream series that they could adapt. So many, you know, even an animated series. You know, I really hope they would tap more into that. If Hollywood and some of the studios kind of sometimes seem like they're running out of ideas, well, there's loads of comic books they could tap into, loads of them. I've also been reading Music Theory. I also got this one out from the library. It's from the Dummies series of book. You're probably familiar with these. They're absolutely brilliant. They've covered so many subjects. And I really find the way they teach so helpful because they break everything down into understandable points. So I always think it's easier to complete a task. I mean, this might not work for everybody, but this sort of helps me to try and complete tasks, to work out the answer to something, to study something, is if instead of looking for that, what you need end game, if you see what I mean, that end goal, instead of aiming for that, break down every step in order to get to that, and then break down each of those steps into smaller stepping stones or bullet points, and then tick those off as you go. And each time you've ticked off one of those smaller bullet points, you've then completed one of the steps. When you've completed that step, you're getting closer and closer till you get to your own goal. That's how I find things easier to learn and to approach to try and complete them, and that's why I find these Dummies books so good. I wasn't actually going to learn music theory. I was not going to do it. You know, I've been getting into musical projects, but I wasn't going to learn music theory. The reason being because I thought music theory was just going to be teaching you what notes go where to sound good in a song, and for whatever reason melodies and tunes to go with lyrics sort of just pop into my head, and then I sort of wanted to just write them down and maybe sometime actually try and perform them, though we're a long way off before I can sing anything, but you know, I need more lessons there. But the point is that's an eventual goal. But I realised that by learning music theory, I can learn how to write sheet music, to write music, which I did want to do because I want to be able to write it so that I can give it to people to hopefully perform. For that reason, I thought actually I need to learn music theory. Finding the idea for a good song is not just down to knowing this note goes here, this note goes there. Sometimes to make your own special sound, you need to break those rules. So having said that, if you know the rules, then you can kind of go about breaking them and going, well, this is what normally sounds together, let's try this. So it could be handy in that way, if that made sense. Just a couple of quick things, really. My soundtrack for the day that I've been listening to is none other than Ed Sheeran's latest album. He's done it again, it's brilliant, it's full of brilliant songs. Another winner, and it's obviously doing really well in the charts, so well done, Ed, once again. He's certainly got the Midas touch when it comes to hit singles and good albums, so well done. Much recommended if you haven't yet listened to it. Bit random, but when I was watching a clip of Only Fools and Horses earlier, it was on one of those Facebook groups that share various clips, and you know, I've watched them so many times they never get old. This is one that included Del Boy uttering his immortal and infamous line, often to Rodney, "He who dares wins." Of course, it would often be, "He who dares wins, Rodders, he who dares wins." I just love that. I think it's such a great saying. Obviously, in a show, in the context of the show, it has a good meaning because obviously Del Boy is saying, you know, he who dares, you know, wins in terms of them finally getting that million that they're after. And I really like the saying outside of Only Fools and Horses. Only Fools and Horses sort of drew me to this saying as a kid. That's where I discovered it. And I really like its meaning. Obviously, it works good in a show for comedy, but it also has a bit of depth to the scenes, and it does have a meaning as well. And it does to me because, of course, obviously it's easier said than done, but it's something I try and live by. That I do realise that unless you dare, unless you go for it, you give it a go, you can't win, can you? So it's he who dares wins. You know, you've got to just at least try, and then there's a chance. Well, you can go for it, whatever it is in question you're going for. So I really like that saying. I really, really like that. I do use it a lot, you know, and I kind of glad that Only Fools and Horses put that in. I'm glad John Sullivan wrote that in. It's a very good character trait that Del Boy has there. So yeah, I was just wondering, what are any of your favourite sayings from any series at all? Really, it could be funny, it could be something that's poignant to you, it's personal to you. Just let me know in the comments below, and I will see you again very soon.